Welcome to part 7 of the top 10 Illustrator tools a beginner should master. In our last tutorial I showed you the rectangle tool and its different functions. Now we're going to focus on the gradient tool. I use the gradient tool very often for it adds some variety and softness to your designs and illustrations. So let's begin. Now in order to use the gradient tool you actually have to have a closed shape. And so far we've learned to make closed shapes with the pen tool, the rectangle tool, the rounded rectangle tool, the ellipse. So we can actually fill these with gradients. So let's start off, since we just came from the rectangle tool tutorial, let's go ahead and add a gradient to a rectangle. Now it doesn't matter if you have a fill or a stroke, but let's go ahead and use a stroke so we can see what's inside of the rectangle. So we just make any kind of rectangle, and we'll actually open up, if we go to window and open up our, let's find a gradient, I already had it open. We're going to click on the gradient palette, and I'll actually pull it here into the view, and you'll see it has a swatch here of a predefined gradient, which is white to black, and all you really have to do to start it is to just click on it. It'll automatically put a default gradient from left to right. Now we can change its direction if we click on the gradient tool, and while the object is selected we can just drag it and the gradient will move in whatever direction we put our line. We can go from right to left or from left to right, and it's going to appear how it is down here in this viewer. So we can make the white move into the black a little more, or we can bring this black and bring it into the white, or we can put it all the way back to the right and move how far close it is from this area. We can also enter a location of this gradient slider. If we were to put 50%, it'll be right in the middle. If you were to put 75%, it would move to 75% or 25. Now we don't just have to use white or black. If you see I have the swatches palette open, I can pull these colors, and you have to pull it over this, like this white box here, and you'll see the plus sign that lets you know that you're going to add the color here. So we made that yellow, and let's move it from yellow to red. And we'll pull the red over the black box, and it'll change the gradient there. Now you'll probably won't be using these colors to make gradients, but it just shows the difference. And that is the linear gradient, and there's another option for a radial gradient, and once we select that, it does what it says, it makes a radial gradient. And this is a little different how you make the gradient. You wouldn't go all the way across. If you wanted the radial to be in the middle, we would go from the middle out, and if you go the opposite way it would put it inside out. And again, you can move the colors however you want, and that's basically it with the gradient tool. You don't have to just use this for rectangles. Like I said, we can, let's go ahead and clear our fill, and let's just make a wacky shape here. And if you see the gradient palette still open, if we click on the swatch here, it'll automatically fill it to what we want. And if you see the options are still here in your fill and stroke, it'll automatically have it open for you. And we can put our linear gradient in here. And to change the direction, you need to have your the gradient tool selected and the object selected, and that's when you can change the direction. And that pretty much sums up the gradient tool. Our next tutorial will be on the eyedropper tool, another very important tool to learn.